I'm Matt Bacon, and this is my point 4 cents.
I'm Andrew Southworth.
And I'm Jesse Cannon. And this week we're going to talk about Spotify's new video tool and how you can see if your music is being trained for AI sites like Suno and Udio. And then behind the paywall, we'll talk about audio versus visual content and how conversion rates change with that. Plus, how the music industry is converging on 1 billion global paying streaming subscribers.
Heck yeah. So the leading topic today is Spotify has a brand new video streaming feature that already, like, tens of thousands of artists already have access to it. I checked, and some of the artists that I have access to, and Spotify artists have this feature. And it's kind of like how now you can go on like DistroVid or Video or whatever and distribute music videos to Spotify and other sites, except you do it directly in Spotify for artists. And it doesn't just have to be music videos. So you can distribute live performances, you can distribute like lyric videos, you can even do covers. So basically it's any video with music in it up to 20 minutes long can go directly distributed to your page, and they're going to pay for it, which is kind of wild. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
YouTube should probably be crying in their bed right now. This is basically a direct play that they no longer want YouTube to be the place that you put up your relational content that helps build a deeper relationship, your vlogs, your behind the scenes. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but one of the biggest things a lot of my bigger clients are doing now is we get done with a tour, we have to make sure we film a multicam video with a fucking drone to make sure we capture this tour every time. So like they want to start to become the hub of all of that. And this is their, I'd say not their toe dip, but their like foot, ankle dip into that pool.
One kind of telling fact about how they view YouTube is you in your bio on Spotify, you can link your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, your X account, and your Wikipedia page, but not your YouTube, right? So you the biggest music video or just video site in the world, you can't link to your Spotify account, and you've never been able to. So I think that is a pretty definitive thing that like Spotify views YouTube as a direct competitor more than almost anything else.
100.
Well, but it's also that thing, I think, that Spotify and YouTube in a lot of ways kind of compete for a lot of passive consumption time, where like, you know, I work all day and I have Spotify going in the background. Fine. I know a lot of people who work all day and they have whatever on YouTube going on in the background. And I think that constitutes a major chunk of people's overall consumption on these platforms, right? I mean, Spotify more obviously than YouTube, but definitely still YouTube.
I go on podcasts like while I'm working.
That's what I'm saying.
For that reason.
And so, you know, so I think it's really about like I remember I had a Spotify executive once say to me at a lunch that Spotify wants to control everything that goes into your ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which like sounds a little, he didn't mean it to sound as creepy as it did, but like
everything that tickles your ear holes, we want to touch.
Yeah, but this is just the extension on that, as far as I can tell.
I mean, I think that, you know, right now I'm re-listening to Liz Pelly's the Mood Machine book about Spotify.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she says is like this thing people started saying, which is like they're more like an ad company than not. And I think that that's actually outdated information now. They have become an attention consumption company just the same way everything else is. And this is another attempt to keep you the app. One of the biggest changes I noticed in the most recent Apple TV update, it's very funny. Most of my life, my consumption has been that Spotify's existed. My music consumption is Spotify when I'm listening. And then when I'm on my couch at night, I turn on YouTube and I do all my listening and watching. Even if I'm not looking at the screen, I'm using YouTube to do whatever I'm doing. So I got this, I'm obsessed with this record by this band called Potion Seller. And it was funny because on YouTube, I didn't see video content when I looked it up. So I hit play on Spotify and I'm like, the app has updated that if it's just audio only, it's just putting the album cover up, but then every video plays through now. And I'm like, and there we go. We're starting to get that thing will become that this is going to make it so that it is more important to have a video for every song, just like Slater and Nina Geraci both did back on the podcast. Have to get the Nina Geraci mention in.
Yes.
But like, this is really that thing of like, this is them moving you to knowing that just like YouTube, a lot of us aren't watching what's on we're in our ears on YouTube, but making it so that you have both things, so you spend more time on the app because they can get more investment the more time they show the average user spending time on the platform.
Just a foreshadow into one of our behind the paywall topics, that the study about the music platforms shows that YouTube Music has had a dramatic growth in the last several years, and like as an artist myself, it's pretty baller that you can have one place with all of your stuff, right? Like if someone follows my band's YouTube channel, they're following our YouTube Music account. If they follow our YouTube Music page, they're following our YouTube channel. Assuming you link that stuff up, and it's really cool being able to have all the stuff in one place, and people can like comment. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And like across the board.
One thing I was wondering about with this, and I don't really know enough to have a fully developed opinion, but I was thinking about it listening to Billboard's On the Record podcast the other day, and how one of the issues DSPs are facing is that you have all these AI-generated tracks that nobody actually listens to that are suddenly coming in, right? And this is also fucking up like the TuneCores and DistroKids of the world, because now they're processing all these.
Not TuneCore anymore.
Well, yeah, but
we should clarify. TuneCore has now said that they're not going to take Suno and Udio generated tracks.
Yeah.
Yes, but like. Yeah, because like it was creating all these infrastructure issues, which makes sense. And one of the things I was thinking about is like Spotify obviously has a shit ton of server space, but it's interesting to me that like when you're facing sort of they're facing what I would assume is something of a server space crisis with all the AI tracks. And the fact that they're doing something that requires even more server space like shows how bad they want it right now, because it's like this is probably like the AI music is probably the biggest server space crisis that Spotify's ever faced. And so the fact that they're just like, fuck it, we're going to figure that out while also adding all this server space for video kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I that was my assumption of one of the big reasons why they did the whole demonetized tracks with less than 1,000 plays, because then it's like, if you know that you're just going to mass upload stuff and it's going to get just trickles of stuff per year, now that financial incentive has disappeared, and so that removes a giant swarm of stuff. But, I've said in the past, I've worked with people who are spending like, over $10,000 a month promoting their AI stuff. And so they don't have that problem, right? They're still getting the view counts, but they're uploading a horde of just a giant mass of music, which doesn't help their server problem. But I guess audio in comparison to video is like it's basically nothing. Yeah. And so I wonder if Spotify maybe it's never actually been about the storage.
Maybe.
And maybe like the potential of becoming like a big video platform.
I can take you guys a different place. So think of it this way: if you're a consumption company and you now have 15-minute videos of fucking, I'm going to go back to Tessa Violet when she would do a 60-minute Q&A on YouTube. So you're now getting a bigger artist whose label is demanding that you keep increasing payouts to them to keep your dubiously legal existing startup going. We have to always remember a thing everybody forgets, that basically the major labels have done little waivers of certain rights they have for Spotify to even exist and pay the way it pays. So what we have to remember is that the major labels do have the thing that they can keep trying to get more of the consumption. When they lowered their payout rate in recent years, this was to get more consumption going. This takes away the time you would be listening to some Sloperator's AI song, and a lot of the time, this is going to mean that they're paying out more of those. And one of the balances Spotify has to keep doing to keep this going is to keep paying out more to the stakeholders who can kneecap them.
I want it. This feels like a good feature if you're a human artist as well, to not get bombarded in the AI slop world, right? Because a lot of the AI people, they're not even making social media pages because it's just not worth the time. Like, it takes too much time to make those accounts, so they just upload the music. They're not going to be doing video, so that's one kind of immediate way to distinguish yourself as, hey, I'm a real artist, is to actually have video on the platform. Although one funny thing someone commented when I shared this on Threads was like, I wonder if I won't get this feature because I'm not a real artist according to Spotify, because of the whole verification thing they did. They were like, I wonder if they'll only roll this out to verified artists or something, but
I wouldn't be shocked.
I hope it's everyone. But server space is a thing, so that would be one way to eliminate like 90% of people who can upload, is make it for verified artists.
Yeah, because it, like, I was thinking about this a lot because of this Billboard on the Record episode where where it's like every record has sort of like a warehousing cost, as it were, right? And that warehousing cost is relatively minimal, but it's still real. And when it's, 90% of your stuff does not cover warehousing cost.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing is that since AI still has this problem in long form, like everybody's like, oh my God, look how great this video is. But one of the things we don't see is long form AI that has a continuous character through it. And that's because the big problem with video generation still is continuity errors, is that the ear looks one way in one scene, then you generate it a second time, and the ear has a fucking cauliflower, then the next one, the nose is all fucked up, and the continuity errors are too big to do consistent plot lines. This is another advantage that real artists will have over that, because what we know, and I think even keeps increasing each year, is that the artists who have the deepest tethering of relationships to their fans are who can sell hard tickets and who gets the most consumption. I mean, these last few weeks we've watched Olivia Rodrigo, who has one of the best relationships with her fans I know of, just post unbelievable numbers.
Yeah.
It's also an amazing pop record.
It really is. But I definitely was kind of gobsmacked when I listened to it like 5 days after it came out, and I was gobsmacked that, like, I think the song already had like 250 million streams, and I know it was a single or whatever, but but still.
Yeah, the drug she makes for all of us people really get addicted to it fast, and it's wild.
Yeah, just perfect songwriting.
Yep. If only her fans could be less insane online.
Anyway, I think I'm curious to see how this Spotify video stuff ends up, like where it kind of ends culturally, which is to say, does it become a thing to just upload a bunch of live footage there? Is the thing to upload exclusive interviews there? Is the thing to do clipping? You know what I mean? Like, is there going to be a place where Spotify starts putting shorts and longs in separate buckets? I could see that happening pretty quickly.
One interesting thing that they didn't talk about, like super noticeably, is that with the launch of Spotify Video, they retired Spotify clips.
Yep.
So they're ditching their short form video, which was, because I went to go upload some clips and I was like, oh, I don't have access to the feature anymore. I was like, what the fuck?
And to be clear, Clips is different from Canvas for people listening.
Yeah. So
Yes,
for everyone,
yes.
Canvas is those like little loopable things in the now playing view you get. Clips would be basically like TikTok on Spotify, where you can tag a video per song that's like an actual, like, up to, I think, 60-second video. And that's gone. And this new video feature is, you can upload shorter videos, but it's horizontal only. It's not vertical video. So it's almost like Spotify was like, oh yeah, that whole TikTok thing, screw that. We're going long form instead. And historically on YouTube, the amount of money that's involved behind short form versus long form content, it's like 100 times better money wise on long versus short. And same thing if you compare like TikTok, like every TikToker and Instagram creator wants to be a YouTuber because of how much better the payouts are.
Yeah, it's literally one of the funniest things is when you're not monetized, but you're with a partner on YouTube, is they actually show you how much money you're getting per video. So like my podcast through iHeart, I have a view of what 500,000 views looks like on a 20-minute video versus a 2-minute video in shorts, and the 1/100th of payout that you get is pretty wild.
Yeah, and so I wonder if Spotify was like, there's just not money in vertical video in comparison to long form video, and that's why the shift is, or maybe they're going to bring it back later. But
also clips. Good. Did clips ever have like serious uptake? I feel like it never did.
No, I would repeatedly see people who didn't even know why they were doing this. I'd have to show them the For You page inside Spotify that is buried under the homepage. But I think there's a different play here. You know, one of the things, yet again, rereading Mood Machine, is that you remember that a lot of what these startups, particularly Spotify, do all the time is they throw a feature out for a while and see if the internet comes back with creativity towards it. And I think they did that with clips, and they went, that didn't work. And then now they're doing that with this. I would bet on this working with every dollar I own, owning dollars. Anyway, but I think there's an interesting thing here that, like you were getting at, Matt, that like we're going to see some band go full Grateful Dead type shit and just throw the fucking kitchen sink at this type of stuff. Others may put up a video every single night of a tour now. Like, this is just going to encourage more of the BTS and what I would say is almost long form clipping, which I know is inherently a thing, but like that, you know, on your tour, you may now be putting up a new video every night so that you're keeping people engaged. They're getting to see these things when they're at your artist page, real estate. Let's say there's another function that it starts to show on the homepage. Things like that make it so that it's more likely people see what you do. This could change the entire economy of content.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because I'm trying to find the right way to say this, but like when you go on YouTube, it tends to be with less intentionality than going on Spotify. Insofar as like I go on Spotify and I would like to listen to Olivia Rodrigo because I'm a person who listens on Spotify, not a person who listens on YouTube, which is in the West the majority of the time, right? Mm-hmm. YouTube Music is bigger in kind of other territories generally. But like if I'm going and I'm typing in Olivia Rodrigo, no shit, that's a great time to feed me Olivia Rodrigo video content. As opposed to like I go to my homepage on YouTube and I want to just put something on, it's probably not always going to be that, right? Like I'm not going in with a mindset of listen to music when I open YouTube the same way I go in with the mindset of listen to music when I go on Spotify. Right? So I feel like, yeah, I think Jesse's right. I think that there's a way for this to really dramatically change how people consume. And it really just goes to the fact that, like, documentation has always been the most important thing. But now documentation is going to be like that's it. You know?
Go see motherfuckers with GoPros strapped to their chests on stage.
I mean, they're gonna have each band member gets their own meta glasses or
I was gonna say the meta glasses are the real move.
Yeah, and then you can upload one feed from each band member. There's some actually big like TikTok accounts I've seen where drummers, just a drummer with meta glasses playing cover songs, and they do way better because they're so you feel like you're the drummer, you know, just based on the camera angles.
Yeah, well, they're also cool because I think that there's always sort of this fantasy of like, what if I was the lead singer and what if I had that confidence and that level of skill? Yeah. And it's with singers specifically because everyone's sort of inherently, like everyone can sing, you know, in a way that like you can't like necessarily play guitar. just by picking it up, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like it allows you to insert yourself in the fantasy a lot better.
Man, this is why I wish James Brown was still alive. You could have his meta glasses on, walk over to the horde player and say, you play that out of key again, I'm going to break your knuckles. Just get that in the meta glasses thing as he whispers it in their ear. This is what they took from us, y'all.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some good hot miking.
Oh yeah. The hot miking. I think though that there will probably be another interesting thing though of this. Like one of the things that's been interesting is I never was a person who brought a camera around to places. Now as a documentarian, I'm like constantly like, okay, can I bring my full fucking rig into this concert tonight and get B-roll? And what's really interesting too is like this will enable that, like you can curate a lot of fan content if you're getting it from them, things like that. Like I mean, truly, like the reason I think that this is so interesting is really that thing of that. I'm on year almost 7 of being like, there's no artist who's utilized YouTube to its fullest extent, and like. I think with Spotify, it will wake some people up because now it's also, you get 2 platforms of content, and that often, I think that is some of the secret of what made TikTok actually, what made Reels grow after TikTok is that people were like, well, I'm already making this shit. I could just post it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Spotify's been doing video podcasts for quite a while, too. So, like, this isn't totally new tech for them, so it should just kind of work. And people are already using it and everything too. So, and then like, I mean, there was quite a while ago when they had signed Joe Rogan and they added video for Joe Rogan's podcast. Mm-hmm. But there's probably already tens of millions of people who watch video on Spotify every single day, and they put it on in the background just listening. So, as you said earlier, they just want to, everywhere you can listen to something, they want to be the person. But our podcast is on Spotify. I was uploading the video versions for a while, but I looked at it. It just ends up being like another thing to do, another task to go and manually upload. Also, we still haven't figured out how to put our subtitles not in German. So
well, let's rephrase that. They haven't figured out how to have their shitty AI not think we're speaking German, thanks to Matt Baconschlotz over here. No, I'm kidding. I could say that as a German.
Until I was like 15 years old, I thought I was part German, and then I found out that I was just mistaken. It was just
it's the Massachusetts way, like Elizabeth Warren.
He's 1% like Cherokee or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, truth be told, until I did 23andMe, I was always told we are way more Native American than we actually were when I got tested. They were like, I was the first one to fail to get tested. Like, you know what? This was a fucking lie.
All this to say,
yeah.
Spotify video is going to be a big deal. I think that now is the time to start getting your shit together in terms of video content and figuring out what are you uploading, because I think that this is definitely, I think your point, Jesse, is completely accurate, that there's very, very few artists who are using YouTube correctly, who are not just YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that this is kind of the turning point. But I also think maybe part of the beauty is this makes it a little more obvious to people how the horizontal long form can really help. Because I think part of the issue I've had personally, and maybe you guys have had a similar experience, when I'm consulting, and to be clear, you sort of have YouTubers turn musicians, or like that's what they want to do, versus musicians who like kind of understand they should have YouTube but don't know what to do. And I'm talking about the latter group, which I'm assuming is most of our listeners. And I think that people it just felt like too much, or like they didn't understand what they should be posting there. Now it's going to be obvious, and you're going to see a lot of it. Recently, The Atlantic dropped a tool that allows you to see which of your songs have been used to train AI models. And a lot of people are justifiably pretty pissed off about it because I think it makes sort of the great scam of Suno that much more obvious. And it's interesting to me because, like, yeah, it just highlights, like, the level of bizarro world of Suno trading their stuff, right? Like, other platform, like Google trading their stuff using YouTube, like, that makes sense. Like, you accepted a end user agreement, like, that's what it is. Suno doing it seems real bad. Jesse, I know you've been talking to lawyers. Do you want to talk about what you learned?
Yeah, I mean, where I'll take this back to first is we had a lawyer on, John Strom. John, I think, is one of the most thoughtful, most interesting people. That said, John's public opinion in his I'm forgetting his newsletter name. In John's newsletter, which you could find by Googling him, he regularly without the laugh, Jesus. In John's newsletter,
Is it called Ready for Nothing?
That's it. In John's newsletter, Ready for Nothing, he regularly has made the point that this is theft, and we cannot stand by and do this. This is not ethical. We did not consent. Recently on Hacks, Hannah Einbender had a great speech while it's a comedy show where she says, "Where is my consent in all this?" None of us consented to this. This dead behind the eyes loser sociopath, Mikey Schulman, decided you get no say because I want to get rich and I don't value music. That is not okay, and we have to say that is not okay. Luckily, there are lots of very, very, very pissed people about their IP being stolen. A lot of people are thinking, I remember what this was like during Napster. The music business handled this very flat-footed. Now, anybody who's ever read Appetite for Self-Destruction knows that the people who were in charge of that were technologically inept old morons. What we have here now is we have people who've seen that warning of what happens when we devalue music, and a lot of people who are going, we ain't losing our IP. If you've ever watched how Disney has responded to all IP theft in the past, that's what we're about to see in real time. Is the stakeholders in this are all going to act appropriately about the way Disney has, which, for those who don't know this stuff, you could read Lawrence Lessig's Remix or watch the movie Remix, a manifesto, and you will see that literally if you show a documentary where the Simpsons are on the TV and backstage of Les Miserables, and you see Bart Simpson, they will sue your fucking ass. That's where we're going to be.
Disney's so intense where, like, there'll be like an independent mom and pop shop on Etsy selling something that's vaguely Mickey Mouse reminiscent, and they will send them a cease and desist and then subsequently sue them if they don't comply. Like, they're cold in defending their IP.
Yeah.
So
they also ruined copyright law.
I was going to say they're the main.
They're crazy with defending their IP. I mean, that's the whole business, right? That's how they make money with everything, is how they own all their characters and their IP. So it makes sense. But
interestingly, they finally did not get fully their way anymore, which is how we got such a big public domain dump in recent years. But regardless, this is the value of a lot of people who are very powerful as wealth versus this guy's small startup who, if I'm being real, is not the brightest bull but the bunch. And I would not be betting on Suno right now or Udio.
Well, like, my take, and I've seen people disagree with this too, but is that if, like, what I would wish that they would do is say that if you didn't get consent from the people's data that you took to train your model, it should be required that your model is made open source. So that way, like, if you want to scrape stuff from the internet and make a cool AI thing, it has to be free for anyone to use and run. And essentially, in that case, just for the good of humanity, whatever. You make some cool thing like ChatGPT, scrape the world, the whole internet. If they didn't get permission for what they scraped, it should be okay. Well, now anyone can download your model and self-host it and run it. You're not allowed to make a profit. And then that would kind of force the people making these models to be like, well, we have to get permission from all the data that we have. But if you want to do some cool research thing, whatever, right? It's like you still get the benefits of like scraping and stealing stuff, but you can't make money, which is a different story. But like Suno, the fact that they're allowed to make, I don't know what they're up to now, but they're valued billions of dollars now, and they have millions of subscribers, paying subscribers. Yep. Off of music that they admit that they stole, but their argument is that it's fair use, essentially, which is just wild. Like, it makes no sense. And they had an argument originally that, like, well, you can't make an AI model that's good enough without theft. It's like, well, what about all the other companies that are making AI models that are solid without stealing music, you know?
So a little bit of a thing here that's very interesting. There's this interesting argument. It's a little bit mentioned. I think I heard it in an interview from the author of that book on AI. If anyone builds it, we all die. Yeah. Is that basically we've seen Claude's model get leaked a bunch of times. And there's this argument that all this data is actually not able to be kept. That, like, for example, Claude Mythos that was recently shut down. Yeah. That one of the problems with Mythos is it's powerful enough that you're basically, you know, we already saw this once, that what other AIs did is they grabbed Claude's power and then they started trying to hack Claude to pull then the algorithm from it, which was also hilariously a plot line on Silicon Valley. So what we're going to actually see is all this data is going to get freed, and then it's going to be about who has rights to it. My thing is, and a lot of what my movie will be about, is we are the value creators, being musicians and the people who support them. And what we need to do is dictate the terms, and what we need to be doing is be the ones who set the standards here, because we created the value in the first place. These fucking extractors who are leeches on us cannot be the ones who get to do this. It's the same reason we got dog shit that drained the live music industry like StubHub into this, is we allowed a fucking leech that provides no fucking value on it. We cannot do this again.
Yeah. I mean, so that, but the, like, for example, they're arguing fair use with how they took music. And, like, for example, I can go and get, I don't know, pick Geese. Let's just pick on Geese, because why not? I can go and grab Geese's song, and I can upload a bunch of videos to social media and pair it with footage from a Disney movie. And that's all legal. That's fair use, right? What I can't do is sell those videos or sell that music or, like, sell a service that allows you to make videos that sync Geese's music with Disney movies. And so that's where, like, that, to me, that's where their fair use thing dies. It's like, well, we trained our algorithm, it's fair use. It's like, if you weren't selling it, it'd be fair use, but you're selling it. And therefore you're breaking that contract of, like, what is and isn't fair use. And the standard can't just be that they can just take whatever music that they want and train an algorithm with it and sell it. Because, like, they're also cloning artists, even if not on purpose. There's been a lot of cases of artists being like, that's literally, like, my exact style. The voice even sounds like me, you know?
Here's an interesting thought experiment. I'm not saying I agree with this. This is just, you kind of triggered this thought, Andrew. There's an argument to be made that music piracy was a net positive overall for creativity. Because it was the first time that people could access literally whatever type of music easily ad infinitum, right? And then obviously, like, Spotify changes the game again, and I think that there's a very easy argument that Spotify is a net positive for creativity. Again, you don't have to agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm just saying there's an argument, because people have access to more inputs and more interesting things. Suddenly I can get really into Willie Colon which is probably not something that would have been super accessible to me 25 years ago, 30 years ago, right? I wonder if people will try to. It's interesting to me that people don't make the argument that something like this isn't like a net positive for creativity. Part of it is because the people who are actually using it and claiming to be creative with it are losers. It's just a thought I've been playing with. That's all.
Well,
Okay. Yeah. Go.
Oh, do you want to go?
I mean, I'll tear this down a little bit. One, I don't like the framing of it being Spotify as a net good. What it was always going to be a net good was the concept we discussed pre-Spotify, which is the concept of the celestial jukebox. Now, for anybody who's like, what the fuck are you talking about with that term? The idea is that a celestial jukebox is access to playing any song ever created on an easy way to do it.
Yes.
So the celestial jukebox, in whatever way it is built, was always going to be a net good for creativity in society. Now, the thought experiment playback to this was that everybody thought when we got GarageBand and DAWs in every laptop for free, was that everybody's music would start to sound like the Flaming Lips, that there'd be a million different instruments all over the place, and, well, we've not seen that. And one of the interesting things is, yes, I think we're in the best time for music of all time. I think we're at an all-time creative high for this. I don't like attributing that, though, to Spotify, because Spotify largely has driven down our artist payouts, no matter what their fucking propaganda says.
Sure. And it is Celestial Jukebox more than Spotify specifically.
Yeah. But I think that there's an interesting thing that why this does not provide more creativity is I'm not seeing anybody who's having major epiphanies from the fucking slop dog shit this puts out. What we do get is that, and I think there's a very interesting thing of misnomers these days is now there's this hilarious thing. I'm forgetting the artist's name, but Andrew Callahan just had him on Channel 5, where everybody thinks this song is AI because he's a Texas rapper, but he's singing with an English accent. And then he does this interview with these guys, and you're like, man, I don't think these two are even smart enough to work Suno. It's like you're watching two brain cells really struggle between the two guys who made this song.
And one like, oh, sorry, you just saw more?
No. But what I was going to basically say is I don't think music is always the most intellectual thing, and all value of this is. But the big thing being, music is about making a powerful emotion, and those things don't make the powerful emotion that's made by humans, and that's why I don't really agree with the thought experiment that this provides any value, because it's literally not dealing with the currency that music actually is.
So
that's fair.
Where I think what Matt said, like that point of will this cause music to get more creative, is where these Suno models are, or really all AI, isn't really capable of coming up with like brand new ideas, right? It's just iterating on stuff that's already been created, which can be super useful. I'm not talking about the Suno, but just AI in general, right? There's a lot of awesome applications for it, where it doesn't have to be creative, it just has to do things humans already know how to do. So the Suno stuff, it gets really good at generating music in the content that it has training data for. So it's really good at generating pop music, mainstream commercial stuff that most people think is engaging, and it's really good at making cinematic music to go behind like a movie scenes or go behind a TV show, right? Like the things that can get cranked out. And there's a lot of people who are really creative and really talented who, because there's more money in making mainstream commercial pop slop or making like background music that's not really very creative, but there's more money in it. Those people are doing something there instead of doing something truly creative. And so if Suno, and this isn't really to give Suno credit for it, it's almost like Suno will destroy the human work in those fields, because there's just going to be slop thrown on there. And not really Suno, but like the humans using Suno. Anyone could just make infinitely cool pop music, right? So the people who are in there making that pop music, does that then kind of give them permission? Like, you can kind of just go be weird and crazy. And then also the people listening to mainstream pop are going to be bombarded with just like, it's all going to be the same because it's all going to be written or recorded by Suno. So do those people start craving more interesting music that Suno can't make because it doesn't have it in its training data.
You know, my friend Douglas Rushkoff, who's like one of the great futurists of our time, who's written many of the great books about what will come, he has this book called Team Human. And Doug's argument is we have to make judgments based on, is this a net good for us as humans? Is this a net good? And as we face down the barrel of AI pointing the gun in our fucking face, saying, I'm going to obsolete you, we have to start thinking, are we really getting anything good from this? Are we, I mean, the data centers are raping our land, all these things, we have to make these decisions. And I have yet to see anybody who can tell me what net good Suno and Udio do for our lives, aside from amuse us a little on the internet, which there was plenty of things to do before these dog shit companies existed.
And this is one of the interesting things to me about Suno and Udio is, sorry, you know, we all spend a lot of time talking to like high level people in music, right? And like high level people. And the thing I consistently see talking to all these people is all of them, bar one or two weirdos who like are dealing with ChatGPT brain rot. They basically all view it as a toy.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically everyone is like, cool, I can make like a fully produced song about farts for my kid. Tight. But like, you know, but like none of these people are really viewing it as, yes, a new investable layer for music, right? And it reminds me a little bit of how, like, when NFTs were a thing, there was like all these new people in music who like thought they were doing something, and it was really dumb because none of them thought about like actual interesting uses for NFTs the way, I don't know, Avenged Sevenfold did, for example.
Yeah.
And for context, Avenged Sevenfold basically, the NFTs are basically just higher levels in a Discord server, and it's cool, and like you get like actual stuff for it. So that sounds like something I want.
There were a lot of really cool uses for what NFTs.
But they're also just like.
But it turned into like a grifter bullshit.
Yeah,
hellscape.
but like NFTs in their best form are just like fan clubs with more tradable fan club assets with more goodies. Fine.
Mm-hmm. I still stand by to this day. There will be, like the QR code, they will have their time. We just have to solve some things with it.
Yeah, no, because like more tangible ways to trade on fan clubs makes sense to me. But
it's also a great investment mechanism.
Yeah. But I think that what I'm saying is all I'm seeing when I talk to high level people about this is like, yeah, it's just a toy. Obviously, you know, you'll see concerned things where people are like, 6 of the top 50 trending songs on Spotify this week are AI generated. I think that's what it was. I might be quoting that wrong.
I mean, the gospel charts now are just torched.
Sure, but are the gospel charts really torched? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I think it was. It was like 10 out of the top 50 was
okay.
All that, but you know, this is the thing: is like gospel music is the prime example of where this is ripe for, because what those things do too is they take no left turns. So I think of a song like "Suave" from Aquila and Jane Remover. That song has more left turns in the arrangement than I've probably ever heard in a coherent pop song in my entire life, and like. That's what it can't do, but like gospel, traditionally, no left turns.
Sure.
Like it's just like it literally is what, like, you know, when they talk about AI being a thing of like all it is doing is predicting the next sentence. Gospel, if there is ever a genre of music, is just sentence prediction one after another when it's done.
I mean, I think there's that. What I was going to say is also there's always been novelty songs invented in like weird and dumb ways. You know, and I think that, you know, you always see people hand wringing over novelty songs, and it's like, well, it's just the fucking Yes Papa song from that YouTube channel, which is like kind of the biggest song ever or whatever.
I don't know the one you're talking
Who
about.
don't know what you're
You've
talking about?
Heard the Puerto Rico song.
Yeah.
First time in San Juan. Do you know that one?
No, but there was like there's this YouTube video from a nursery rhyme thing on Coco Malone that has a disgusting amount of views, just as a random example. But like, I think that novelty songs are always novelty songs. What I wanted to talk about, though, before we get too off the beaten path here, is the guy who figured out a way to spike AI training. You guys both know...
Poison it, yes.
Oh, I mean, are you talking about Ben Jordan?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
You guys both know a lot more about music production than I do. Can you talk about how that works a little bit?
So, if I recall, and I had, fun plug, I had Ben Jordan on my channel a couple years ago, and I bumped into him at NAMM a couple years. Brilliant dude.
Very smart dude. Does great reporting outside of music too.
Yeah, like
he's
the
actually
stuff
been
he's
doing
on the flock security cameras and AI data centers.
His reporting has changed what I would predict as a news producer. The flock camera stuff, it will be one of the biggest stories of next year. And he was literally on it. I actually helped him get to some reporters after you introduced us, Andrew, to get more of it exposed.
Yeah, and then that now he's been on Rick Beato, and like so it's been like his journey went from like niche nerdy music stuff to like top level reporting, which has been wild. But he's brilliant. Came up with some cool ways to what he called like poison pill AI your songs for AI. And I don't know like the details. You go on his channel, there's a huge video about it. But he came up with some algorithm that like based on the way that like if you look at Suno, they were trained on like low resolution tracks. There's some like sonic signatures in there that apparently if you run your song through a certain algorithm that he made, if that gets in like Suno's or any like AI training thing, it like kind of messes it up in some way. And that's like the nuts. That's like in a nutshell what it does. In terms of how it works, you'd have to go read his paper on that or whatever. But the idea is you'd run your song through this, or like you'd go and upload a bunch of fluff songs onto streaming platforms, and effectively it like degrades the quality of any AI training platform that trains off of that music. But it sonically sounds the same. So like your song is like poisoning and deteriorating the AI model without it sounding different.
Yeah, I know he had to obscure some of the details in the video he made, but I think that the interesting thing here though is this is yet again like everybody's like talking about this like let's poison, let's do these things, and it's like we need to make it financially unviable for these fucking extractors to do this.
Yeah.
Like just plain and simple, a line needs to be drawn in the sand that you do not have the right to take without consent my IP.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, I don't fundamentally have any problem with an AI music platform. It's the theft of the music, to me, that's the problem. So, like, if someone wants to go around and every person in there gave consent to use their, like, it's consensual. There's like really no argument against it at that point. It's like all the people in there consented, all the people paying for it consented, all the people building it consented. So it's fair play. But and there's people proven that can be done realistically. But like there's a lot of lawsuits right now against Suno and probably also Udio, but also whoa, that's a big boy. And then there's but like also a lot of the major labels have started like signing agreements with different AI platforms, but which is concerning because that's how we ended up with the streaming model we have today is because of major labels signing agreements on behalf of the world.
Yep, and it's almost like the rest of us need a say in these things, which is why we have to change a lot of things about music, which is why there's a movie called Why There's No Money in Music coming soon. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We're trying to get this to go as far as it can, so please start a conversation with a musician friend by sending it to them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our episodes every Thursday. If you can rate us on Apple and Spotify, that helps so much, and it makes my grandma actually want to talk to me. Tune in next week for more.